Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome, my friends. My name is Vincenzo, and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. Yes, thank you very much for joining me once again. By the way, I forgot to mention it in my last reviews because I don't know what the order of the reviews is going to be and how I'm going to be or when I'm going to be publishing it. But I'd like to thank all my viewers. I've reached 1,000 subscribers in such a short period of time. I'm very pleased. I'm having an absolute ball doing this. I think it has just enhanced my hobby of fountain pen collecting so much more. It gets me to look at pens that I otherwise would not have probably even winked at. And you get to appreciate pens at a much closer look at them, and for what they really are and how they're made and how they're positioned in the market, etc., etc. So once again, thank you. I thank you all. Please continue to provide me with your comments. Most of my viewers, I've always something very useful and practical to offer as comments, suggestions on how to improve my reviews, or even some very pertinent information on the pens that I'm reviewing. So, and I welcome all the viewers to take a look at those comments because they're all very informative. So once again, thank you. Now, we're back, and we're back, yes. The binge continues, and I've just received the Hongdian 100. I think it's a gorgeous pen. So let's take a closer look, and the question again is, will it provide me with fountain pen therapy and a great or a good or a bad writing experience? Stay tuned, folks. Okay, so we're back, and here is take a closer look at this beautiful pen. I've got to tell you, yeah, a lot of us don't like metal pens, but Hongdian is kind of getting me to like them more and more. I know I had ordered a couple of Fullerwin metal pens, and I never used them. But these Hongdian pens, they have something about them that just makes them all very, very attractive, and they're all unique in their own way. Now, this one, so let's take a closer look at this 100. First of all, the 100, and you could see it inscribed right there. There's two Chinese characters, and then the 100 is a celebration. It's a homage to the 100th anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party. The metal on this pen, I know that Doug of Inquiring Minds actually tested it, and he came to the conclusion that it's extruded aluminum and not silver, or not silver on copper, or which explains why for a metal pen it's slightly lighter than some of the others that I've seen. The engravings on this pen are just, there's a lot of symbols there, some of which I don't know what they stand for, but the top cap has a lot of floral carvings along with the 100 there, and other symbols that I just don't know enough about. In terms of the barrel itself, what you see is that, well, you could see that there is a temple or a palace. Then here you see the stairs of the Great Wall, and there's a couple of flags as well. I guess all paying homage to China, if you will, and the Communist Party. Very, very nice engravings. So that takes care of the engravings, or the carving of this pen. First of all, I like very much the way the clip is adorned and decorated, especially with this stylish carving out here. It is extremely stiff. I would assume it's functional. I don't use clips personally, but I assume it does, just the way it works. Now, funny enough, this finial has kind of got a goldish tint to it. The star is actually, silver beigeish. But I noticed that in Inquiring Minds, Doug's pen was actually, the star was red. Well, mine isn't. I would have really loved for it to be red on gold, to tell you the truth. I think if I find another one, I'll probably order it. Because red, after all, is the symbol of, the Red Star, the Chinese Communist Party. So there you have the outside. Now, the outside is, in fact, this very similar to the Hongdian N7 in terms of design. It also resembles a lot the Hongdian N1S, although the N1S is obviously it's an acrylic pen, but it's also very a little bit thinner, if you will, has less girth. Nice cap here. The nice piston cap. The other finial is just a silverish flat. There is a little bevel here on the other one, on the other side as well. So very thin band in the center here, which is similar to what we see on the N7. Now, when you open up, first of all, the pen opens up in one turn, typical, I think, of Hongdian. It reveals this nib. Now, I've seen various versions. There may be versions with the temple, Chinese temple on it. Mine doesn't, because I chose a medium-sized nib. I have all the long blade, the long knives. I have the fine, and I have the extra fine of Hongdian, and I did want a medium. That's another nib that I wanted to try out. In terms of this, where we set our fingers, I gotta admit, it's not slippery at all for a metal pen. You would have thought that this thing would be just slippery, especially if you have sweaty fingers, but it isn't. This thread here is also, you can hardly feel it, really. You feel it, but it's not sharp at all. It doesn't interfere with long writing samples. I think it's a nice balanced pen. It really sits here very nicely, and we will see it in the writing sample. However, can it be posted? Yes, it can. It posts very deeply and securely. Do I like it posted? No, I think it's back-weighted a little too much. But, it does sit there nicely because of the weight. And because it's, it does post deeply. So this is the way I think I would prefer writing with this pen. It's a piston filler. I gotta admit, it turns really quickly, comes to an end, so I'm not sure how much ink you can put in there. It doesn't appear to go very high, but look, I can't see it, so I could be wrong. And that piston filler can be, removed with the Hongdian wrench, similar to the N7 and I believe the N6 as well. So there you have it. That's the outside. I think we've covered all the bases here. So the inside and the outside of the pen. I got to tell you, I'm just falling in love with these Hongdian metal pens. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. Now, in terms of a size comparison, I've chosen a few pens here to just illustrate the metal ones. In fact, are all metal pens. So starting from the bottom, this is the N7 that resembles the 100. We then have the Hongdian D5, of course. This is a Fullerwin, and I believe it's referred to as the Deco Old Brass, very heavy pen, which I bought, but I never use. This is my Fine Writing International brass pen. This is a pen that I use very, very often just because of the... My apologies, I'm back. It's my landline that rang there. Sorry about that. And then this is the Hongdian N6. So there you have a size comparison, capped. Here they are unposted and uncapped, if you will, and you could see that it's a nice size pen, and it really rivals with all of them. It is, of course, the same size as my N7, but slightly smaller than these three, and equivalent to the N6. There you have it. And here they are all posted, and as you can tell, it's a good size posted. This Fine Writing International doesn't post very nicely, so it posts, but barely. But there you have the size comparison. You can see that it's a big pen posted. And personally, I would refrain from posting it. Okay, we're going to take a look at some measurements and then be right back with the writing sample. Okay, so on to the writing sample. And the first thing, as to the ink that we'll be using today, I've inked this pen with this new Jacques Herbin Shogun ink that I just received, another 1670 edition ink. In fact, I've received about five new editions of Jacques Herbin, and I will be reviewing them sometime soon. Just trying to do all the pens first. It's a very nice ink. It's a shimmering ink, gold shimmer in kind of a dark grayish brown, which I think should match nicely with this pen. And there you have it. Jacques Herbin inks, even though they have shimmer, have always performed very well for me, and hopefully they will continue to do so. So that's the ink we will be using today. As to the journal, I thought I'd change it up a little bit, and I did order this. It's just another model from Life, and I think they make great fountain pen notebooks. This is the Margin model, and I thought I'd give it a try and see how this particular paper performs. It's a thicker paper from Tomio River, and I figured I'd give it a try. So that's the notebook. Now, let me just focus in a little more so you can appreciate the handwriting or the sample, in a much closer fashion. Okay, here we go. So, as I mentioned, I prefer this pen unposted. So, as far as the pen is concerned, the pen is the Hongdian (100) silver. Okay, sorry about that. The nib is a Hongdian medium, number 6 steel medium nib. Okay, and the ink we are using today is the Jacques Herbin 1670. A little bit of a skipping there, Shogun. And I'm not sure it's the paper or the nib, but it's not performing as I thought it would, or as it should. You see, there you go, a little bit of skipping there. It's either the paper, it's not constant. There is It's like the paper doesn't like this pen. I must say I'm not. Look at this. It just skipped there. Right there. Skipped. So this nib, we're going to have to work on it, and I'm going to come right back. I'm not happy with it. Be right back. Okay, so I'm back with, I'm going to go back to my trusty Tomoe River notebook just to see, before I play around with that nib, just to see if it's the paper. I have a funny suspicion that it may be the paper. So let's redo the writing sample, but this time on this Tomoe River. So the pen is the Hongdian 100 silver, and I can tell you folks immediately that there is a big difference. In terms of the nib, it's the Hongdian steel number 6 medium. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to try to be as close as possible. Let me just so you can appreciate the difference here. I'm going to try to stay within the camera. The ink is the, sorry about that, Jacques Herbin 1670 Shogun. I mean, there is absolutely no skipping. Look how dark it is as compared to this one, where you could see, look at the B here. It's uneven. The ink kind of in the S, it's having a hard time penetrating the paper. It's almost as if the paper has this coating that makes it nice and slippery, and that ink just slips. Oh, I messed it all up there, but sorry about that. But you can see here that there's no such thing. I mean, in terms of how line variation, it's got a little spring to it. Look how wet that is. Okay, I mean, you could see just I've spilled everything here, but I mean, it's consistent. It's not giving me the same issues that the other paper is giving. Fast writing, absolutely no doubt in my mind. Just keeps up very nicely. So all to say that, you know, sometimes we jump to conclusions. We think it's the nib, but you know, you got a sense when you're writing whether it's the nib or not. And I just, that's just a funny suspicion that it was the paper. So I'm going to have to look at that Life notebook because that's disappointing. I did have a previous writing experience with it, and I thought it was just fabulous. But I guess maybe just this nib and that paper just don't fit in any event. My rating. So now we can rate this pen for what it is, along with the nib. In terms of the design, I'm going to give it a 9.2. The reason why it's a 9.2, otherwise I probably would have given it a 10, because I really like this pen, is I don't like the fact that I'm not getting a red star with a gold background, and why they changed that. I think it needs to be red if it's going to be a true homage to the Communist Party. So I don't like that flip-flop. I'm going to take some points off. Built quality. I mean, look, folks, I've not been able to see anything wrong with the build quality of this pen. I got to tell you, I mean, I'm not an expert in metal, and I'm not an engineer, nor am I design aficionado, but I got to tell you, this pen is solidly built. So I have no choice but to give it a 10 on 10. In terms of the nib, now that we know this nib is a 9.8 on 10. Okay. Can I play with it a little more? Probably, but you know what? I'm not going to, tweak it maybe, but not play with it to the point where, because it is a very satisfying writer. In terms of value, I think it was going for $40 Canadian. I will put on the screen the actual price that it's going for, either on Etsy or on AliExpress, and maybe even Amazon. A little bit overpriced, I would say. A little bit overpriced. Based on other pens, in the same category. Is it going to be a go-to pen? I think that if I replace that nib, it will be, because I'm enjoying the feel of this pen. I really like it. I like the weight. I like the size. I like its look. And, as an attorney or a litigator in court, when I'm taking notes with this silver pen, my opponent is going to take a look at it, and maybe even the judge is going to say, what are you writing with? Why is it shining so much? You know what? Why not? So that is my review. Hope you've enjoyed it. I've tried to entertain and inform you as best as possible. Once again, thank you very much for the viewership, as they say. Greatly appreciated. Please keep on viewing. I know a lot of you do not subscribe. If you get a chance and you feel it's worthwhile, please do. If not, send me all the comments. Comments are useful. How can I improve things? If you have any questions, let me know. I will do my best to get back to you with an answer, and do so as quickly as I can. Thank you very much, and see you next time.